Hello and welcome to episode 30 of the Relatively Crafty Podcast. I've done 30. That's pretty awesome. I'm feeling pretty good about that. My name is Cristi. You can find me on Ravelry as Cristi-Lael and on Instagram as Cristi-Lael without the dash. Links to those are down in the down bar, as they always are. I always put links to everything that I talk about, or at least I try to put links to everything that I talk about in the Dropbox down below, but I do it the next day. So like I will upload this today, and I always put show notes to come soon, and then I will do them tomorrow morning after I get up. I don't have time to do it on Tuesdays. I barely have time to get this edited and uploaded on Tuesdays before I have to leave for knit night, so I do it Wednesday morning after I wake up. I mentioned in the last podcast or two that I have a booktube channel as well, and I did have a couple of people ask about that, and a couple of people ask if I would post about the books that I am reading on this channel. However, I'm going to keep those two channels separate, at least for now. Part of the reason is because I like that it focuses on knitting in this channel and it focuses on reading in the other channel. I don't really talk about either on the other channel, except for in passing. I also, like with knitting, I read a lot. I knit a lot and I read a lot, and so in order to talk about what I am reading on this channel, it would be a long process, and because I'm already doing that on the other channel, I don't want to devote too much time of my knitting podcast to reading, because I can go through up to 7 books in a week, depending. I read physical books on my own. I read physical books to my kids every night. I listen to audiobooks whenever I'm alone doing errands or housework. I also listen to audiobooks in the car with my kids. So I go through a lot of books. So I am going to keep those separate for right now. But if you are interested, my booktube channel is What Cristi's Reading. And then I am also on Goodreads, and I post about everything that I've read on Goodreads, and I am also Cristi-Lael on Goodreads, and I will link both those down below as well. And I will warn you that I do read primarily YA and middle grade. The middle grade is mostly what I read to my kids, but I also like to read them myself, and then I really enjoy reading YA. I do read adult books as well. I'm not anti-adult books, but I like YA. I especially like YA fantasy and contemporaries, and so if you're not really into YA fiction, then you're probably not going to get much out of my channel. And that's totally fine. You know, there's a reason why there are so many different types of reading book genres, and there's a reason why there's so many types of readers. So there you have it. But as I mentioned, I don't want to devote too much time on my knitting podcast to reading, so let's go ahead and get into the knitting. We have a Ravelry group. Yes, we have a Relatively Crafty Ravelry group. And I would encourage you to go and check it out, become a member. We have knit-alongs and giveaways and chatter and support for the knitting that you want to do or the knitting that you are doing. And yeah, it's just a really good supportive group, and I would encourage you to check it out. We are having a KAL right now that just started last Wednesday. It is the summer solstice KAL, and it is going from June 21st until September 21st, which is the fall equinox. So it's the entirety of summer. It starts on the summer solstice, hence the name, the summer solstice KAL. And as I've said before, you're encouraged to basically knit any kind of sock that you want to knit. It can be toe up, top down. Heck, start it from the heel if you want. There is a pattern that does that. I'll put it down here, I can't remember it, and I'll post a picture. I knit it once. It was very much fun. But you can knit knee socks, shorty socks, Rose City rollers, thigh highs, regular socks. My only request is that 2 socks be an entry if they are adult size socks, and 4 socks be an entry if they are kid size socks. And make sure that you put each pair in their own thread, each entry in their own post, because I want you to get full credit and every possible entry for the prizes. And I have a couple of prizes, which is awesome. And like with the summer sweater KAL that we just finished up, I will have prizes for both the FO thread and the chatter thread. So even if you don't manage to get a pair of socks finished, you still have an opportunity to win a prize. I think that that's the best way to run these KALs, because not everybody can get their knitting ducks in a row and finish up a project within the time frame. Although I do have a rather large time frame this time, so hopefully everybody who really wants to will be able to finish at least 1 pair of socks in the 3 months that the KAL is going on. Our first prize is a skein of Yarn Cafe Creations in the Castle on a Cloud colorway, which is just a really pretty blue base with some gray and purple speckles. So I have a skein of this that I purchased, and I was going to use it for the summer sweater KAL, but I ended up saving it, so we'll use it for the sock KAL. And this is in her fluffy base, which is a 75-25 merino blend. And then Carrie at the Creative Obsession very awesomely donated this skein, which is her Ariel colorway, in her lovely sock base, which is an 80-20 merino blend, and it's just got all these great, awesome colors. I love this skein. So I will link their shops down below, and their podcast, because Carrie is the Creative Obsession podcast and the Creative Obsession shop on Etsy, and then Yarn Cafe Creations is Christy, who also is one half of the Girls in the Yarn Cafe podcast, so I will link those both down below. And then I do have another donated prize, but I will get into that at the end when I get into my yarn haul. So, yeah, so definitely enter, because you don't want to miss out on some really great sock yarn. And yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and talk about FOs. And I only have a single FO today, just one, but it's a big one, so I don't feel too badly about it. I finished my backshore. Yay! I'll post a picture of me wearing it. If you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen these photos. But yes, I finished it. I blocked it. And then last Wednesday or Thursday, I think it must have been last Thursday, we had a cold snap just come through here. I woke up and it was 45 degrees outside, and the hottest it got was 65 degrees, so I was able to not only get a proper FO shot, but I wore this all day on Thursday because it was cold, and it was lovely. It was wonderful to wear. It kept me nice and warm for that cool day. I mean, I don't think that I would be able to wear this during the dead of winter, but for a 65 degree day, it was very nice. And it was very comfortable. I was a little bit concerned because it's a little bit longer than I had expected. It grew a lot in blocking, lengthwise, not widthwise. The width is perfect, but lengthwise it got long, so it's almost tunic length if I let it go all the way down to the bottom. So I figure I'm going to wear it a couple more times and see how I feel about it. I may end up shortening it. When I put it on, I could have taken out an entire stripe. Like, I could have just taken out this entire gray stripe and just finished it off and then had it been the right length. But, you know, things are always a little bit bigger right after blocking, and it always kind of shrinks down a little bit after some time. So I'm going to give it some time and wait and try wearing it a couple of times in the fall and see how I feel about it then. But if you are new to the podcast, then this is Backshore by Alicia Plummer. This was my entry for the summer sweater KAL that I hosted with Sarah of the Canadian Knitter Podcast, and I did not get it finished in time for my own KAL, but I did finish it just a couple of days late, so I don't feel too badly for that. And I knit it out of Madeline Tosh DK in Oceana, which is the blue, and then the Verdant Griffin Traveler DK in Downcast Donkey, which is the gray. And I still have quite a lot of both colors. I think I had 5 or 6 skeins of each because I originally had planned on making them into their own sweaters. So what's nice is that I have enough to use in conjunction with some other yarns as well, and use these yarns again in other sweaters, which I'm really excited about because I loved knitting with both of them. And that's it. That's the only thing that I finished this week. Now, I don't want you to misunderstand. I knit a lot this week. I just didn't get any massive full projects done. I have a couple of hose, but I'll go ahead and show you those with their whips. I've been trying to get all of my socks done. There's a ladybug outside my window. I've been trying to get all of the socks done that I need to get done for June. I have fallen behind in my sock knitting. I think I maybe overextended myself. And it just wasn't the sock. It just wasn't the month for this many socks, because I have KALs that I am in that I need to finish before the end of the month, and I am really coming up on a deadline now, because I've got today is the 27th. I have today and 3 more days, and then June is over. And I'm like, oh no. And so I've been trying to knit like the wind to get these socks done. I think I might make it, but it's going to be very close. Like, I will not have any leftover days. But as I said, I think I will make it. So let's go ahead and get into what I have on the needles right now. First, I have a hoe. This was nearly done last week. I think I had just a couple of inches left, and then the ribbing to do. This is out of Stranded Dye Works in her Oasis base in the one-of-a-kind street art colorway. It has a little bit more purple, whereas the regular street art is a little bit more pink. So Amy Florence dyes for Stranded Dye Works, and she is holding a Brit Knit KAL, where you have to knit something that was dyed by, designed by, or I guess produced by, a British maker. And I have done one entry. I knit a couple of shorties that were knit out of Hand Dyed by Kate yarn, and I was able to put 2 of those together to make one entry. So if I don't get this done in time, it won't be that terribly bad, because I do still have an entry into the KAL, but I would like to get it done. However, it's like the last one I'm gonna do. So I have the first one done, and then I did start the second one, but as you can see, I haven't even finished the toe yet, because I have put this aside to get the other ones done that I do actually have to get done by the 30th, or I fail. I fail. The next one is not quite a hoe yet, because you'll see it doesn't have a heel, but this is my entry for the Box of Socks KAL, which is run by Kristen of Vine Yarns, who does the Yarngasm podcast. And I have the first sock done except for the heel, of course, and then I have started on the second sock and just gotten a couple of inches past the toe. This, interestingly enough, we went to see King Crimson in concert on Saturday. King Crimson is a progressive rock band from, they started out in the 60s. They're still together, they're still putting out albums, and they are Ron's favorite band. And so he really, really wanted to take the girls to see them, because he's afraid that they're going to stop touring before too long. The band members are in their, I think the age range is from 51 to 71. And when you have great acts like David Bowie, and half or 2/3 of Emerson, Lake and Palmer passing away, and then you have great acts like Rush retiring. Ron, and these are all, you know, Ron's favorites. He's afraid that all the great acts are going to go away, and then his kids are never going to be able to experience them in concert. And so we took the kids to see King Crimson. And it was a great show. It was actually, I'm not the biggest fan of King Crimson. They're okay, but seeing them live was amazing, and they had 3 drummers in front. 3 drummers with 3 full drum kits, and so it was very drum heavy, very percussion heavy. And I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I play the drums. Not great, but I play well enough to have played for our church back home on the praise band. And so I'm very into drumming, and so I was able to really enjoy the show, even though I'm not the biggest fan of their music, because just watching the drummers go was amazing. But I bought this sock to knit. I normally wouldn't have done that for a concert because it's really dark in there, and unlike going to the movie theater where you get points of the movie where it's fairly bright in the theater, so if you're making a mistake you can kind of look at it. In a concert you can't really do that. However, as I've mentioned, I've been a little bit stressed about getting all of my socks done in time, and so I thought, well, I'm not going to waste 4 hours of prime knitting time, because Saturday night is a big knitting time for me, and not knit on it during that time. So I brought the sock, and I'm pretty proud of myself because I dropped like 3 stitches. I dropped a stitch 3 times and was able to pick it up and fix it while the concert was going on. And doing that without it disturbing the view of the people behind me, and I was certain that once we got to the intermission of the show, I was going to find all kinds of big mistakes, and I didn't. I do have this one spot right here, I don't know if you can see that light bulb progress keeper I have there, where I only picked up one of the plies, but I can fix that easily when I take out the stitches for the heel. I'll go ahead and drop that down and fix it and bring it back up. So yeah, so I have the first sock, and then I'm working on the second sock, and I'll definitely get these ones done. Stripy socks work up really fast, so I'll probably focus on these today, and then hopefully have them done by tomorrow. And then I have these socks. So I have this hoe. This is Lolo Did It in the Hippo for Cinco colorway with Ow! I Feel Good for heels, toes, and cuffs. And this is another pair that I have to get done before the 30th because her KAL that she's having on Instagram, both this colorway and the Hippo for Mom, are due by June 30th. So I have the first sock completely done, and then I've gotten really fairly far on the second sock. I'm right at the point where I need to put in the heel. So this one, again, should be done by, I'm hoping to get this and the stripy pair done by Thursday so that I can spend Friday working on the Stranded Dye Works pair. I can get a single sock knit in a day if I focus on it, and so I'm hoping that I can get that done. I won't have a very pretty picture for it because I'll probably get it done Friday night, but that'll be okay as long as I get a picture and post it up. So yeah, so I'm close to finishing this, and then I have one more whip that I have to get finished by the 30th as well, and that is the Hippo for Mom. And if you recall, I hadn't planned on knitting that into a pair of socks. I was going to knit it into a hat, and I should have just picked a plain, simple hat that I could knit easily and quickly. I can do a hat in, you know, a couple of hours, you know, in a day, but no, I'm a glutton for punishment, so I picked a hat that is actually kind of like a double hat. So I'm knitting 2 hats for this KAL. The pattern is Mrs. Jekyll and Little Hyde by La Maison Relatively, I think. I'm probably mispronouncing that, and I apologize. But it's, as you can see from the picture, it is a reversible hat. So you have on the outside the lace part, and then you can flip it inside out, and you have a stripy stockinette. And the idea is that you have a hat that you can wear with multiple things. It's something that can, you know, dress up an outfit or look a little bit more casual, and it's warmer because, you know, the winter is cold here, obviously, and I found last winter that I ended up wearing my heavier weight hats more than my fingering weight hats. So I had the Hippo for Mom, which is gray with purple and red speckles, and then I had a mini, a little Lolo of Willy Wonka, no, I think it's just called Wonka, and Sriracha. So I thought, well, you know what, let's go ahead and put those together, and I think that it is working out very good, and I am halfway done with the hat, which is good. So here is the lace part, and you'll have to excuse the ribbing right now. It looks awkward because I just started the stockinette part on the inside, but you can kind of see the lace. It's a very simple lace, and it's done almost entirely in the Hippo for Mom. And the idea is that the other colors will kind of peek through the holes when you have that part done. There is a tubular cast on here that I had never done before, and it was tricky, but it does give it a good look, that I did in the Wonka. And that is just a nice little added flair, I think. And then when you do it inside out, I haven't done very much, you can see that you start the second layer and you knit it and then connect it here at the top, and so you can wear the stripy side or the lace side. So I have the Wonka, and then I have the Sriracha, as I said, and my plan is to do as much as I can in the Wonka, but I might run out, and if I do, I might even do it anyway. I do a single stripe in the Sriracha. I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I've decided. I'm going to do it mostly striped with the Wonka, but then there's going to be a single stripe, kind of 2/3 of the way up the head in the Sriracha. I think that's going to look really nice. And I will probably wear it most often with the stripes on the outside, just because that's kind of my style, but it is nice to have the lace as an option for when I want it. So, so yeah, there's that. I'm sorry, it looks just kind of like a hot mess right now, but it will look a lot better next week when I show you the finished object, I promise. And that is all of my whips, and you might be saying, Christy, you said that you would have your mom's sweater on the needles by today, and to that I respond, yes I did, and then you might say, but Christy, aren't you stressing out about the fact that your mom's going to be at your house in less than a week and you haven't even started her sweater? And I'm going to respond to that with, yes I am. Oh, I'm such a bad daughter. I will get that sweater started. I will, before she comes. They are going to be here Sunday afternoon, July 2nd, and they will be here until the 14th. And so my plan is to knit on the socks and hat until the 30th, and then whatever doesn't get done just gets put on hold. And starting July 1st, I'm going to just knit my mom's sweater, and I will be out of school right about then. I'm taking a break while my folks are here from school, so I finish up my class on Sunday, but I expect to be pretty much done with everything by Friday or Saturday, and And so Saturday basically will be devoted to finishing up the little bit of house cleaning that I have left to do, and then knitting on Mom's sweater. So I will at least have a couple of inches done by the time she comes, and then that's what I will be focusing on the entire time that she's here until it is done. My plan still is to have that sweater done before she leaves, and I do know that 2 weeks is really cutting it short for a sweater, but I did knit the sweater that I made for her for Christmas in 10 days. So I do know that it's possible, and with her there, and with the driving that we're going to be doing, that I won't be doing, I should be able to get it, if not completely finished, almost completely finished, and then I can have it, I can like ship it to her if I need to. And who knows, she may opt to keep it here, because as I said, they are moving here next summer, so she might just decide, well, keep it until Christmas when they come, and then she'll have a sweater here that she doesn't have to worry about packing. But yeah, and that does bring up some discussion about my podcast for July. I will also try to do a podcast on Saturday, July 1st, and then I won't be able to do one until after my parents leave. So they leave on the 14th. So I won't be able to get one up until the 18th. So you'll have one on the 1st, and then there'll be one on the 18th, and then I'm going to be taking kind of a vacation while they're here. My folks would completely understand, but it does take a lot of time to record, edit, and upload a podcast, and I don't want to take that time out of visiting with my family. So yeah, I hope you guys understand. I'm sure you will. So on Saturday, there will be a podcast, but it'll probably be a short one because I'm not going to have very much done. Just basically the whips that I just showed you, and that should be about it. So it'll probably be a quick little podcast, little mini podcast, and then I'll have a really good one on the 18th. There you go. And speaking of the podcast, I totally forgot to announce this, but I do have a giveaway going on in the Ravelry group right now for my 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I will post a picture of the prizes here, and that will be something that I will announce the winners of on the podcast on Saturday. So the giveaway is open until the 30th. Well, Monday or midnight on the 30th. So make sure that you get your entries in. There are three requirements for the giveaway. You need to be subscribed to my podcast, you need to be a member of the group, and then you need to tell me about the first podcast that you watched or listened to. Several people have mentioned the audio-only podcasts that were around way back in the day, and I remember listening to a lot of those as well. Cast On and Lime and Violet. I listened to those a lot while I was knitting. I loved audio podcasts. I do think that I prefer video podcasts, honestly, because I like to see what they're actually knitting in real time instead of having to like find it, on the Ravelry page or whatever. But I do want to point out there have been a couple of people who have entered in the giveaway, but they're not members of the group. And you have to be a member of the group in order to win. So make sure that you go up to the top of the group page and click on join the group. Otherwise, you can't enter. And if you're not sure whether or not you are a member of the group, if you look on your post in the giveaway thread and it says at the bottom guest in group, then you're not a member of the group. So just go up and click enter or join the group, and you will be entered to win. So yeah. One of these days I'm going to get all of my administrative stuff in all at the same time at the beginning. One day. Okay, so as is my custom, when we come to the end of the month, I normally like to show you guys the sock yarns that I am planning on knitting in the following month. Now, because my family is coming and because I'm going to be focusing at least half of the month on my mom's sweater, I have not picked out very much to knit into socks. But I am going to knit some because I am Christy and I like to knit socks. So here are just a couple of socks that I'm hoping to knit this month. For my box of socks entry for July, I am going to knit this gorgeous skein. This is Canon hand dyed in her Slytherin colorway, which is a green and gray. I was going to say silver, but it's not silver. It's definitely gray striper, and I'm very excited about it. This is also an MCN, so it's super duper soft. But Amy, who dyes for Canon Hand Dyes, is a very talented dyer, so I'm looking forward to knitting this up. And then for my entry for the Desert Vista Dye Works 3rd Annual Monthly Sock Club, I am going to knit this one, which is Frederick, and I'm really excited about this. This is one that I've wanted to knit for a long time. I'm in love with the orange and the gray, and so it'll be socks for me. I knit the last pair for my mom. These ones are definitely for me. And then I have to knit Lolo Didit's Hippo for Dad by the end of July in order to qualify for her KAL on Instagram. So I will be knitting my brother a sockhead hat out of the Hippo for Dad colorway. I had mentioned that I was going to try to knit it before my folks came because my brother's birthday is July 14th and they'll be here. That's the day that they're going back home. But we just found out that my brother's not going to be able to come. He is getting his master's degree in education, also through Grand Canyon University, which is where I'm getting my bachelor's degree in accounting. And he has to do field work for the class that he's in currently, and it has to be at the schools that are in our hometown. So he can't come, which is very upsetting. We are all very much bummed, but he will be graduating by the beginning of next year, and then he's going to be moving up here as well and going to be hopefully getting a teaching position in the town that I live in now, so he'll be close. In fact, I'm even going to suggest that maybe he try to find some living arrangements in our complex. We have a complex that is both townhouses and apartments, and so I think it would be great for him to live in the apartment side and then be really close. My kids he's a great uncle to my kids, and he's my little brother, and we're really close, our entire family, and so to have him just kind of a hop and skip a jump away would be really nice. Plus, he's a really good babysitter. I haven't had a babysitter in almost a year, and ooh, I love my kids, but gosh, I would love to just go out to dinner with Ron without having to take them with us. That would be so nice. Next, I am knitting some socks for a friend. She picked up some sock blanks at a festival in Canada, some Bling Your String sock blanks for me, and when I offered to reimburse her for the yarn, she said, well, hey, would you be willing to knit me socks in exchange for them? And I said, well, of course I would. So I'm going to knit her her first pair, which is this really lovely skein. I'm not familiar with this yarn base or this yarn dyer, but I am very keen to knit it up. This is Stashable, and it looks like it's a New Zealand dyer because their website is stashable.co.nz, and the colorway is Rainbow Lorikeet. So I'm hoping it's a striper. It's 80-20 wool blend, and yeah, I'm excited about it. Got lots of colors in there. You know I like lots of colors. So I'm going to try to knit her first pair in July, and then maybe the second pair as well, but I'm not sure that I'm going to get to it. And then the last one I have set out is one of the sock blanks I just referenced. This is Bling Your String in Kissin' Teal, which is a gorgeous kind of tie-dyed looking sock blank. I'm very excited about it. Erin of Bling Your String is having a sock blank knit along in her group, which is linked in the KALs that I am in down at the bottom of my show notes. And so I'm finally going to knit one. I've been wanting to knit one for a couple of months, ever since I knit Carrie's of the Creative Obsessions sock blank in April. I've wanted to knit another one, so I'm finally going to be able to get to that. So So that's what I've got for July. 4 pairs of socks and 1 hat. I don't think that that's overextending myself, and I do think that that will keep me up to date on all the KALs that I have to do every month. And then some that I want to do as well. And that brings us to the final segment of this podcast, which is yarn haul. And I hadn't expected to have any yarn haul this week because I didn't have any yarns coming in. As I've said, I've only got an order coming from the UK that was shipped about a week ago, so I've got another week. I might have that by well, I'll definitely have it by the time I podcast on the 18th, but I probably won't have it by Saturday. And then I do have my Knitterly Things rainbow sock that's coming for June, but that I won't have before Saturday either. So I just didn't have anything that I was expecting to show you. However, I was contacted on Ravelry by April, who dyes barmaid knits, asking if she could donate a skein for the summer solstice KAL, and I'm never going to turn anyone down who wants to donate a skein as a prize for a KAL, of course. And so I gave her the address, and she shipped the yarn really quickly. She is also a Coloradan, so so she's, I don't know, maybe an hour away, and so it came the next day. I like that. And I also like that this awesome dyer is local to me because, whew, she's got some pretty yarns. And she was super awesome. She sent a skein as a prize and a skein for me to keep. And look at how cute they're packaged. Isn't that adorable? So let me explain to you how Barmaid Knits works. All of her colorways are dyed after cocktails, which I think is such a clever idea. So this one, which is the prize skein, is the Earl Grey tea cocktail. And it's gray with some beautiful speckles of some purple and blue, and a little teal in there. And I had such a hard time picking out which one I was going to keep because they're so beautiful. But I thought, you know, I've been getting a lot of gray with speckles with the hippo for the holidays, so I'll let this one go. Oh, and I should say that this is also a sparkly. This is 75% merino, 20% nylon, and 5% gold stellina. So it's gorgeous. I don't know if you can see the sparkles. But she also includes the recipe for the cocktail, which I thought was such a clever idea. So you have the recipe for the Earl Grey tea cocktail and a skein of Earl Grey tea cocktail. And it's gorgeous. And it comes in this little bag. So I'm putting that in there, and it's all ready to be a prize for the Summer Solstice KAL. Thank you again, April, for sending a prize. I really appreciate that. Anybody who ever wants to donate a prize is welcome to get a hold of me on Ravelry. I really appreciate your generosity. And I love that I'm able to help introduce other people to new dyers that they might not know by winning a prize. So yeah. And then, as I said, she sent me one for me, which was super nice. Not completely unnecessary, but super nice, and I really appreciate it. And this one is the Blackberry Bourbon Smash. And it is also gorgeous. It's kind of got a purpley pink base with green speckles. And this is also a sparkly base with gold stellina. So I was thinking that my mom would probably really dig socks out of this yarn. She likes sparkle socks a lot, and so yeah. And then I also have a recipe for the Blackberry Bourbon Smash drink, which I'll have to try out. Yeah. So thank you again, April. I know I've said that like 4 times now, but thank you again, April. I really, really appreciate your donation and your generosity. Okay, so that's it, guys. I don't have anything else to show you. This might be a little bit short. But But I will see you on Saturday. So it's just a couple of days, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy the end of June, and I'll talk to you later. Happy knitting. Bye-bye.